Content farms have been getting out of control on YouTube as of late, and I don't mean that in an exaggerated way, I mean literally. Some of the channels that I found are just straight up using corn replaced the C with a P for their thumbnails. And today I want to take a moment to look at some of the different types of content farms that have popped up. Now, fair warning, if I don't have to cut a lot of stuff out of this video, which I feel like I'm going to, you're probably going to see a lot of characters from your fandom here, so fair warning right there. And if you're a fan of the amazing digital circus, you're cooked. Your whole community's cooked. Like, it's crazy what the internet has done with Pomni and Jackson. Like, fair warning. But with that being said, let's go ahead and look at our first content farm, and that's going to be the Dash Minecraft channels. And I say Dash Minecraft because basically they just put like the name of a character. In this instance, we'll look at like Jack's Dash Minecraft, and then they just start to churn out a bunch of AI generated slop using that character. Now, for those of you who watch my content consistently, you probably remember I made a video previously a couple of months ago that talked about a Pomni Dash Minecraft channel. And I'm pretty sure that these channels are related. Either they have the same creator or they have like the same company making these videos. And a creator by the name of The Beak actually made a video comparing these two channels where he put them side by side, and it kind of confirms what I already thought. The channels are basically identical and they're just milking this genre for everything it's worth. Now, before we get into the actual content of these videos, I want to take a moment to actually look at the thumbnails. The first being Jack's love potion, where he is trying to pour a potion into Pomni's butt for whatever reason. And while we could assume that Ragatha is upset here because her friend has been taken advantage of, considering the content that we're going to be looking at today, she's probably jealous because we all know how much women love to have weird potions just snuck into their bodies. Another thumbnail that caught my attention was the Who Stole Ragatha swimsuit thumbnail, which is just straight up implying that she's naked under the water. And then of course there's the pregnant Pomni with Kaufmo's demon baby in her guts thumbnail. Now I know some of you are probably thinking this is common on YouTube. YouTubers use clickbaity type thumbnails in order to get people to click and watch their videos. I mean, you all saw the thumbnail that I chose for this video. Putting Cynthia on the thumbnail wasn't an accident. I knew exactly what I was doing. The issue is that this content is obviously geared towards children, because who else will be watching something like this?
Oh my gosh, Pomni! What happened to you overnight? Why do you look so big? What's with your stomach?
Are you pranking me? I'm totally fine.
Just look at your stomach.
Oh my gosh, what's this? Why have I become so big?
Did you eat all my carrots?
I didn't do anything. I don't need your carrots.
But you said you were on a diet and you don't eat much anymore.
And just so you don't think I'm cherry picking, here's another scene from a different video from the channel.
Wow, guys, we're already near the pool. And look at this! There are fish in our pool!
Where did they come from? I've never seen fish swimming in a pool before.
Oh, Ragatha, you totally forgot that in our amazing digital circus, there was a recent update and now we have fish!
My issue here is that not only is this content targeted towards children, but it is the laziest AI generated content that I've seen on the internet thus far. And I know a lot of people like to bring up channels like LinkyBox when we're talking about content farms, but at least those two dudes are actually still getting on camera, they're giving reactions, and they're being loud and obnoxious, which is what little kids like. So I kind of understand that content to some degree.
Can you guess all the amazing digital circus characters in Roblox?
We have to guess characters like Pomni, Jax, Kaufmo, Ragatha, and more.
But when you contrast that to this content here, this is just soulless and an obvious cash grab. Next, I want to talk about the Skibidi toilet content farms that have popped up over the last few months. And just to be clear, I'm not talking about the original creator of the Skibidi toilet, the fuck boom. I'm pretty sure that guy is still going strong with like up to 70 or 71 episodes as of the recording of this video. I'm not taking a dig at that guy because regardless of how you or I may feel about that content, we can at least acknowledge that there's a lot of work that goes into that type of animation. I want to specifically talk about all the channels that are using Skibidi Toilet in their title, or even using like some of the characters in their own animations in order to kind of leech off the hype that Skibidi Toilet has right now. And I think the biggest culprit of this that I found was a channel called Hulu Wulu, which is a channel that pretty much latches on to anything popular at the moment and pumps out animations daily about those characters. Skibidi Toilet making a ton of appearances, and now that Poppy Playtime's 3 has dropped, we also see that they pop up a lot in the animations as well, specifically the smiling critters. Now, one of the main issues that I have with this type of content farm is that they don't actually make new animations every day. All they do is make like a small snippet of a new animation, and then they just compile images and scenes from their old animations into the new video, making it 10, 15, 20 minutes. Meaning that the only reason they're able to make daily content is because they're just recycling old videos every day. And while this strategy may not be the most ethical thing, it's obviously working for their YouTube channels because it's getting recommended, they're getting views, and they're probably making a decent amount of money doing it. And while these thumbnails at least aren't overly sexualized, they do seem to have a fascination with death here, and I think that again goes towards like gearing their channel towards children, because children love to click on things that are like outrageous or bloody or gory in any type of way. That's why a lot of FNAF thumbnails are crazy. And just a fair warning, as we get deeper into this rabbit hole, the thumbnails are going to get a whole lot worse. And that actually leads me to another channel that I want to talk about called Gummy Dora, which is another animation channel that definitely decided to step up the sexy thumbnails. I mean, I simply cannot be the only person that thinks it's kind of weird to have Pomni here with this baby trying to like push against her belly. And based on the thumbnail, it looks like Kinger may be in love with Pomni, or that it's even his baby. But when you actually watch the video, Kinger just loses a pillow with his wife's face on it in like a dimension of hell, and Jax and Pomni go to get it back. They play a prank on Kinger by placing the pillow under Pomni's shirt to make it look like she's pregnant, implying that Pomni and Jax got busy down in hell. Only then to reveal that it was the pillow the whole time, making Kinger grab them and shower them with love and thanks. The animation itself isn't even bad when you really watch it. It's just that the title and thumbnail are presented in a way that makes it seem like it's just going to be pure smut. I think the worst thing that actually happens in this whole video is that the characters have a pillow fight, which is super tame. And in all honesty, if they had regular thumbnails, I wouldn't even mind the fact so much that just like the last channel, they kind of pad their watch time by using recycled content. Because I understand how hard it is to make daily content or to pump out content consistently. So if you can find ways to get around that, I'm not really against anybody getting their bag in that way. But the thumbnails are just too ridiculous. Like here's one that literally has a baby version of Jax trying to get under Pomni's shirt. Or if that one doesn't prove my point, here's another one where Pomni's literally chained up with her cheeks out. And for me, it's just too creepy for a channel that's obviously geared towards children. And I'm sure some of you are probably thinking that these videos are age restricted in some way. They're not. I went to a lot of these videos and looked for the age restricted text. It doesn't pop up. But if you don't believe me, do your own research after the video and maybe you can prove me wrong. But a lot of these videos are just flying out to the world. They don't care who sees it. Now, next I want to talk about a channel called Sonics, and this one actually popped up while I was eating lunch, like scrolling through YouTube, and I guess because I had looked up so much slop that it started recommending stuff to me, so this video popped up. And I just have to say, this thumbnail right here is one of the worst ones that I've seen, except for like in the comic dub content farm niche. I think this is a chick from Chainsaw Man that was like one of the big bosses named Makima, I believe. And the thumbnail here is obviously from like a not safe from work comic or from some animated porn site, basically. I mean, her pants are literally down and she's surrounded by men who I assume are taking back shots. I don't know how else to put it. And while I guess we don't know definitively how old this character is, a lot of people speculate that she's in her 20s. She looks young. She looks around the same age as Deji, who's the main character in Chainsaw Man. I'm pretty sure he's 16. But that's an argument that I'm not even going to get into, because I know a lot of people in the anime community get super upset when you bring up this idea of like characters that look like teenagers or children being overly sexualized. It can literally be like a 10-year-old girl in love with a 30-year-old dude, and people will be like, well, technically, she's a 10,000-year-old elven vampire. She just looks like a 10-year-old. I don't want to hear that. But the one thing that I will say is that at least the chat here seems to be passing the vibe check to some degree. Now, I said to some degree, because like we see this dude, like when you accept the clickbait, I came for the thumbnail, then I came again. And then this guy down here, for whatever reason, is saying femboys are better. We got this guy saying we're getting our channel banned today. WTF. I need therapy now. So there's obviously a lot of people that know that this is kind of weird. And of course, you got the people who are just making jokes. Now, as I'm sure most of you can imagine, the rest of the thumbnails on this channel are just as crazy or worse than the one that I just shown you. And straight up, if I end up getting age restricted when this channel doesn't have any age restrictions on it, I'm going to be pissed. But with that being said, this is one of the major thumbnails that caught my attention because it has the hub literally on it. And then we have this chick in like a string thong. And I'm pretty sure the woman here is Kaska from the Berserk series. Now these videos seem to be in Serbian and basically give a recap of what is happening in the episode, but in a comedic way. I managed to put the script for this video in Google Translate, so let me read you about 30 seconds of what's actually going on in this video, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that doesn't speak Serbian here. Basically, these goons come in and throw this woman on the floor, asking if anybody has a first aid kit. Then they get upset because somebody spills wine. This old dude comes in and starts talking crap, so they knock him down, make this woman suck up some wine, and then somebody starts taking shots with a bow and arrow. Now, in all honesty, I don't even think the content here is really all that bad. Obviously, like I said, I don't speak Serbian, so maybe Google Translate is taking away some of the context that is actually in the video. It could be worse than what it seems, but for me, it just seems goofy. I think the issue that I have with it, just like with a lot of these other ones, is that the thumbnails are obviously going to attract children. You put a naked chick on the thumbnail on YouTube, you know there's a bunch of kids here. They're going to be the people that are coming to watch it. Older teens and adults have other places that they're going to go if they want to see Kaska in a thong. Let's just be honest. The next content farm that I want to talk about on our list is going to be this new trend of like 360 videos that have just popped up. And basically what they do is they take like a AI generated world or room, and they basically make it to where a person can click around and see like the whole basically 360 of the area. In this video, we see a chicken nugget coming out of a toilet singing Cotton Eye Joe. Now, as we look deeper into this channel called Mr. VR, we start to see the amazing digital circus pop up, of course. Specifically, we see all these little Jax plushies that just spawn in randomly. And then we have this AI generated store that has that meme from the Has Been Hotel playing on repeat. Now, I guess this content isn't the worst thing on the internet, but just like the other content farms, they just pad their watch time by stringing old videos together to make them longer and add bad GIFs or still images to kind of pad the video as well. Now, while they may not do this for every single video, they do it enough to where you can definitely see the pattern. But as to not milk this one too much, especially because I don't think there's anything too interesting to say even if we look at other channels, let's go ahead and move to the main course of this video, which is going to be the comic dubs. And make sure to buckle up because this one's about to be gross. Now, we can't start this next section off without talking about one of the more popular, or I guess infamous creators in this space called Cougar McDowell. And I'm sad to say that even though his thumbnails are obviously inappropriate, he's fairly tame as far as the comic dub content farms are concerned. But that really isn't a compliment to him. It just shows that this genre has the worst and most inappropriate thumbnails. I think this thumbnail right here is a good example of that has Luna saying, "Hurry master, give me more," and she has the tongue out and the slobber and all that. Like, we know who this is for and we know what it's trying to incite. And when you actually watch the video, it deals with the talk of possible threesomes and has some innuendos about sucking you know what. There's even this scene where the character asks,
"Would I get up if you pretended I was a guy?"
Nope, not in your wildest dreams, Stella.
Now, for me personally, I thought that, I just didn't know a whole lot about Has Been Hotel because I haven't really watched the show besides the pilot a long time ago. So I thought maybe I was just taking some stuff out of context, but when you actually look at it, I don't think that's the case.
Oh, Blitzy, Daddy's been hungry all day. Well now, Daddy's got a ripe snack all to himself, don't he? What?
And again, just to be clear, if this was on another website, I would have no issue with this. Like, this right here is kind of tame if it was on any other website except YouTube, and if it wasn't so obviously targeted towards children. And I know a lot of people like to make the argument that a lot of these topics are not even meant for kids. I'm pretty sure Has Been Hotel is like mature, so like 15, 16 and up, but that's not really an excuse that holds water when the rest of the channel has literal like Godzilla images, Pomni, we have FNAF in here and Poppy Playtime, which all looks like they're geared towards children. And I can hear some of you now probably making excuses like, well, at least they're not using literal children cartoons in a lot of these comic dubs. Well, let me introduce you to a video called Master, What is Your Favorite Evolution? And it is just porn with the nude parts cut out or either cropped away.
Curious, huh? Cold on the outside, but inside it feels warm, wet, and tight. You might enjoy it with my sisters, but deep down inside, I know I'm your favorite.
I don't think much commentary is needed for this one, but the one thing that I will say is that finding comic dubs like this knocked another one that I was going to use called the Pokemon Hypnosis comic off the list. That's the comic where I actually got the image for Cynthia in the thumbnail. But after digging deeper into these actual like Pokemon comic dub content farms, it was no way that I could put that one on this list in good faith. Because at least it seemed like that creator actually made his own comics instead of just dubbing over other people's work and then throwing it up there every day. But while we're on the topic of Pokemon, I feel like I need to throw this animation in as well, and it's by Glucose Animation Toons, where they basically like turn Pokemon into Power World in the sense that you can catch people. They basically decide to turn Ash into a creep who is catching all these little girls and women so that he can make his own little harem at the end. Where if you ask me, these women don't look nearly angry enough considering that they just basically got kidnapped. And the last thing that I will say about this in particular is that the jiggle mechanics are crazy considering that half these characters are like 13 years old. Now continuing down our list of weird comic dubs, this next one that we have is from a channel called SVAG Plays. And as you can tell here, the thumbnails are basically just porn with the amazing digital circus censor bar covering the bits. This video here is a great example, and the title says Dog Days has fallen into Catnap's trap, and I guess the thumbnail is implying that the trap is getting his cheeks clapped. But when you actually watch the video, it looks like a patchwork of just random comics, bad voice acting, and like a copyright-free background.
Thank you for deciding to help us. I'm sincerely glad that you chose to assist us. How wonderful that you're here. It's just a miracle. Is Catnap home, Angel?
And just so I'm not cherry picking, here's another video from the channel which is almost fully recycled and has the same type of garbage.
You? Where are you taking me? First of all, why did you save me? Oh, my panel. Why did you save them? I got away with it.
I also think it's kind of funny that a lot of these videos have the same title as well. Now, I'm not going to beat the comic dub genre to death because I feel like I could keep going on and on with these because there's so many of them, but this video ended up being like an hour long. But with that being said, I do want to look at two more channels. The first one being Bum Comic. The video is titled Mabel Does This Every Morning, and this is a video that the Dipper X Mabel creeps would absolutely love. In this comic, I assume that Bill takes over Mabel's body and pretends to be her. Then Dipper comes into the room and asks if they can continue what they do in the mornings. Then we see this.
Very well.
For the life of me, I will never understand why people ship siblings in the first place, and even more so, why they justify the ships. Whenever I see people trying to make an argument for why it's okay, I think of that line from the detective show.
If you get the opportunity, you should kill yourself.
That might be too dark. I might take that out, but we'll see. The last comic dub that I want to look at is from a channel called Peach Comic, and it's insane. Just like some of the other ones, it's just porn that has had some of the nudity cropped away. And the dialogue for this is absolutely crazy.
Just look what a big load you dropped. Could I clean it with my mouth?
I truly don't understand how this is even allowed on YouTube because the character used in this comic dub is Nezuko, and I'm pretty sure she's like 13 or 14. I guess people just don't care. But with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next section because I can stay on this one all day. There's so many comic dub channels, it's ridiculous. The next content form category is basically just Gacha Life, where basically they just create a bunch of little like still images of characters and have them reacting to something. The creators will usually use characters that are popular right now, and then they'll just have them like sitting around a TV like in this video here.
Stand down or be eliminated!
Player, I'm sorry. I'm trying to let you go.
I think out of all the content we've seen so far today, this is likely the laziest. It's basically a reaction channel without any actual reaction. I mean, when you look at the actual people here, every once in a while, the still image will change and they'll like open their eyes or they'll look shocked or something like that. But for the most part, there's no actual reaction here. But I will say out of all the content that we looked at today, this is probably the least harmful overall. The thumbnails for these channels are all pretty simple. They're not really reacting to anything too crazy. Usually it's like TikTok compilations or bad animations. Sometimes they'll do gameplay, and every once in a while they'll react to some smut, obviously. But for the most part, I think this content is fairly tame. I think my big issue with it is that you're basically just stealing people's content when it comes down to it. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me make a part 2 or just continue down this rabbit hole, let me know, because there are a ton of like comic dub channels that we could talk about alone. But with that being said, thank you for watching. This is Orseofkorse. We'll see you tomorrow with another video. Peace, peace.